Breaking news, 3 fires on one Tulsa street. The unusual way Tulsa firefighters say someone intentionally set one of them.
Cautions thrown out the window. How a Tulsa healthcare worker says coronavirus concerns appear to change drastically once the sun goes down.
It's very humbling to know that so many people care for your spouse.
A pastor dealing with coronavirus and cancer. What his wife is saying about his condition.
Covering news that matters. Fox 23 News This Morning starts right now.
Good morning, I'm Michelle Lynn.
And I'm Ron Terrell. The time is 4:30. We've got a crazy breaking story this morning with 3 fires just blocks apart.
Tulsa firefighters say they already had a surveillance team in the area because of past incidents, and now this morning they've made an arrest.
We'll get to that story in just a moment, but first, meteorologist Michael Sager is in the Fox 23 Severe Weather Center tracking temperatures that are going to climb.
Breaking news, 3 fires on one North Tulsa street, and this morning investigators made an arrest that could be linked to an even bigger investigation. Fox 23's Amanda Harry's live near Pine and Lewis with what investigators say started one of the most recent fires.
Fire marshals say it was a person who threw a tire that was on fire onto a roof that started one of these fires. All of that number coming up at 5. Live in Tulsa, covering news that matters. Amanda Harry, Fox 23 News.
New this morning, 2 people are waking up behind bars after an overnight chase in a stolen car. Marco Esobeda and Ashley Jordan were both arrested near Admiral and Sheridan around midnight. Tulsa police say this chase didn't last long, but wound through neighborhood streets, even went through an apartment complex. Police say not only was the car stolen, but a gun was found inside.
Here is a look at the very latest coronavirus numbers. Wednesday, the state announced more than 2,100 new cases and 19 new deaths. Active cases are at an all-time high this morning with nearly 22,000 people infected statewide. More than 3,200 of those infections are right here in Tulsa County. The White House says Oklahoma needs to implement a mask mandate for all K through 12 students. The weekly report also says 64 of our state's 77 counties are in the red zone.
It recommends limiting the indoor capacity of restaurants to less than 50% until cases go down. It also recommends Oklahomans, quote, stop gatherings beyond immediate households.
We tried to get an update on the number of available ICU beds. We reported earlier this week there were 0 beds available in Tulsa, but we kept getting redirected from hospital spokespeople and EMSA back to the State Department of Health. 3 hours after we first asked, we were sent this statement by Matt Stacy with the State Health Department saying in the last 24 hours, neither Oklahoma City nor Tulsa has been without ICU beds, and both regions are not currently without beds. As we get updates on those numbers, we will bring them to you right here on the air and on the free Fox 23 News app.
As doctors urge people to wear masks and limit gatherings, a local health care worker is defending that message. Fox 23's Naomi Kidd is live near 2nd and Elgin with that worker's serious concerns about Tulsa's nightlife.
Ron, so it's early and it's quiet out here this Thursday morning, but on the weekends, it's a much different story with people crowding into the bar. Reporting live downtown, covering news that matters, I'm Naomi Kitt, Fox 23 News.
Now at 4:36, students in 3 more Broken Arrow schools are moving to distance learning today because of a growing number of COVID-19 cases. Today, students at Oliver, Oneida Ridge, and Childers middle schools will all make the move to virtual learning. We told you Centennial and Sequoia middle schools moved to distance learning Wednesday. All Broken Arrow 9th through 12th graders moved to distance learning Monday. They'll all be doing virtual learning only through November 20th. They won't be in class. Then they'll be off for Thanksgiving break. A judge is expected to decide whether a Tulsa man accused of murder can represent himself at his trial. Alonzo Kelly is accused of killing his ex-girlfriend Charletta Thomas in 2016 at her home in West Tulsa. Nearly 2 years later, investigators tracked him down in Oregon, where they arrested him during a prostitution sting. His trial is set for later this month. We will let you know today what the judge decides about Alonzo's ability to defend himself in court. In a developing story, we've learned the woman killed in a crash near the Tulsa Zoo yesterday was part of the World War II airborne demonstration team. We brought you live breaking news from the scene Wednesday night. Tulsa police tell us Lindsay Donaldson of Owasso, this woman, died after she pulled out in front of a semi. Tulsa police tell us Donaldson's boyfriend witnessed the crash yesterday afternoon. This is so sad. She had just flown in the demonstration. Police say they are not expecting to file any criminal charges. The Tulsa Air and Space Museum is closed today because of the accident. A nonprofit is expanding its services in Oklahoma to help veterans in need.
Volunteers of America Oklahoma has been awarded 2 federal grants totaling more than $2 million to help veterans with housing and employment over the next 3 years. In Oklahoma, the nonprofit tells us they have been able to help 500 veterans at risk of homelessness in the past 5 years.
With the new funding, they hope to give more veterans in need the tools to rebuild their lives.
The real goal of this particular program, once they're housed, is that they will become so financially self-sufficient that then they'll be able to take over the lease on the apartment where we've helped to get them housed.
The new funding will go to helping veterans in Tulsa and in Oklahoma City. If you know a veteran in need, they can call Volunteers of America Oklahoma. The number's on the bottom of your screen now. Look, 918-307-1500.
A family's asking for prayers for a Tulsa pastor fighting COVID and cancer.
We told you about Mitch Wilburn from the Park Church of Christ. He's been in the hospital now for almost a month. They planned a live virtual prayer vigil last night, but a worldwide YouTube outage delayed it.
Mitch's wife, Shannon, says they both caught the virus in mid-October. They both had symptoms, but Mitch went to the hospital when it was difficult for him to breathe.
Shannon described what it was like when she finally was able to see Mitch for the first time right before they had to intubate him again.
I was able to come up at 7:30 on Monday morning. I hadn't seen him in 26 days. And so it was really good to see him.
Shannon says thankfully Mitch has had a stable couple of days and his kidneys are functioning again. That's good news.
She's very hopeful he will make a full recovery. YouTube is back up. The family recorded a church service you can view to support them.
We have a link to the recorded prayer service. You can find it on the Fox 23 app. Just click on this story.
Happening today, you're now required to show identification when applying for unemployment online. The Oklahoma Employment Security Commission says this is being done to protect your claim against fraud. Until today, verifying who you are was optional. Log on to ui.ok.gov and use the Verify OK feature. You'll need a valid photo ID and a photo of your face to complete the process.
Happening today, Macy's is holding a hiring event for holiday jobs. The event from 11 to 7 will be conducted entirely by phone. If you're interested, you would need to first submit an application online at macysjobs.com. There you'll also find a list of available positions.
441 now. Temperatures are pretty mild. We are going to warm up, but that roller coaster continues.
That's right. Meteorologist Michael Sager is tracking all of it for us in the Fox 23 Severe Weather Center.
Absolutely. We've got a warm up for us today. Now, as
4:42 is the time.
I'm excited to be here. I really am. It's top 35 bull riders in the world going up against the best bulls in the world.
A Green Country bull rider competing on the national stage for the final time. Why he says this weekend is his last ride.
We need another 1,000 lights. We need another 1,000 lights. And so we just started adding more and more lights.
It's not even Christmas yet, but one family is ready. Why these lights are so important to them. You decide 2020. President-elect Joe Biden says he's not worried President Trump has broken with tradition by not letting him read the daily intelligence briefing.
Biden says he can't make national security decisions yet anyway. He stepped away from his closed-door planning yesterday to honor the nation's fallen soldiers at a Veterans Day tribute in Philadelphia. Then he returned to private transition planning. When
asked this week about the Republican resistance to the election results, Biden said it doesn't change the work he's doing or the job he's preparing to do.
Meanwhile, Georgia's Secretary of State announced a hand recount of all ballots because the margin is so tight.
This as the president-elect's lead in Georgia has now reached about 14,000. Georgia's electoral college votes have not been factored into the 290. The president-elect has won, meaning even if a recount flipped the state, it would not change the outcome of the election.
3 Oklahomans are competing in the Professional Bull Riders 2020 World Finals.
It starts today in Arlington.
Dirt Eater able to dance with Buffalo Scott.
Ryan Dirt Eater from Hulbert, former Fox 23 News This Morning guest, is from Cherokee County, of course. He won the World Finals in 2016.
So cool. He hopes to do it again this weekend, and this will be his last attempt at the title. He's got a fiance, and he says it's time to settle down.
Family get-togethers, holidays, go to birthday parties. We're building a house. After the PBR finals, I got to get serious on that. She's been on me. I got a fiance back home. We're getting married October 23rd of next year.
The 2 other Oklahomans competing this weekend in Arlington are in the top 40, Colton Jesse and Brennan Eldred. Good luck to them.
Absolutely. Tulsa and Pawnee counties have a new district judge. Governor Kevin Stitt appointed Michelle Lee Bodine Keeley to the job on Wednesday. She currently serves as the first assistant district attorney for Osage and Pawnee counties. According to a news release, Bodine Keeley is a former military lawyer who served with the Oklahoma Air National Guard for 22 years.
We've still got 2 weeks until Thanksgiving, but maybe you've noticed plenty of people are decorating for Christmas early. 12-year-old Ryan Dodwell of Owasso says this tradition keeps getting bigger and brighter. Ryan's mom, Megan Dodwell, says her husband, Josh, didn't hold back. The home near 4th and Main is covered with nearly 50,000 lights. The Dodwells say there's a reason they nearly doubled the lights this year and decorated early.
It's been such a rough year that we needed a little extra joy.
The Dodwells say it wasn't just something they could do together as a family, but they could brighten up the evening for anyone who happens to drive by. My husband says he'll work on our lights this weekend. We don't go all out. I don't want him up on the roof. He just does, like around the gutter. You hang lights, and you don't typically do it before Thanksgiving, but are you thinking about doing it this weekend?
Thinking about doing it this weekend, and we've got this big tall tree out in the front, and I use a golf ball retriever. You know how you can extend those? I hook a little loop around the top of that, and then that's how I put it on top of the tree.
You should have your own segment.
It's the most, it's the silliest way to do anything, and it works. It seems to work, so.
That's what we could call the segment, Ron's Silly Tips. Hopefully the weather will cooperate this weekend. Meteorologist Michael Sagers in the Fox 23 Severe Weather Center.
For the most part, I think it will. We may have some rain to start things out Saturday morning to the bus stop as you're heading out for your morning drive in about 10 minutes.
451, virtual meeting may no longer be allowed for Tulsa City Council. The rule expiring this weekend that could ultimately slow city decisions. A woman reunited with her beloved service dog, how Fox 23 helped bring them back together. COVID concerns are actually sending Owasso to the quarterfinals, the game that had to be forfeited, and what you need to do if you had tickets.
Owasso has already won their playoff games scheduled for tomorrow against Edmond Memorial.
Gotta love the air quotes. Because of Edmond's COVID concerns, the top-ranked Owasso Rams, go Rams, get a forfeit win and advance to the quarterfinals against the winner of the Mustang versus Yukon game.
Anyone with tickets for tomorrow's game will be able to use them instead to attend the quarterfinal game in Owasso November 20th at 7:30 p.m.
Just crazy. Hundreds of people in downtown Tulsa celebrated the city's 102nd Veterans Day Parade.
Lean back and away.
You could hear the soldiers marching Wednesday and that DC-3 Wildcat making the special flyover. Organizers were determined to continue with this important event despite the increasing cases of COVID, and they took a number of precautions, including having signs saying, "Uncle Sam, look at this, wants you to wear a mask."
Right now, 4:55 is the time. We are continuing to follow breaking news. 3 fires in Tulsa, all believed to be arson. Why firefighters say one was set in an unusual way. Caught on camera, people not wearing masks in Tulsa, the reasons people gave for why they didn't want to.
Live look outside right over Highway 169 outside of Tulsa Raceway Park. We're off to a cool start this morning, but not quite as chilly as we saw yesterday morning. We'll break down what we can expect as we go through the rest of your morning drive in about 3 minutes.